In today's video, we will be replacing a fan and limit control in a furnace. So this one has stopped working in that it never shuts the fan off when it hits the lower temperature range, so we are going to have to replace it. The first thing you need to do is turn off the power to the furnace. Mine is done with a switch on the side, but you can also trip the electrical breaker in the circuit box, same thing basically, and the circuits in this are dead. So there's no shock risk right now because I have everything turned off. And then what you want to do is let the furnace cool down. This can take up to half an hour. If you want to speed this up, what you can do is switch this over to manual and then have your thermostat turned off upstairs basically, so the furnace isn't going to try to kick on the heat, and then this will circulate air through the furnace basically for a while, and then after everything is cooled down, you can go ahead and turn the power back off to the furnace. So now what we're going to do is start to remove the limit control that's in here. Okay, so now we're going to start removing the fan and limit control. The first thing you want to do is take a picture of where all the wires go, and also it doesn't hurt to write down what each wire goes to. So in Sharpie, written over to the side here, we have the red for the meaning the limit, the blue goes to fan, and the black is the common wire. So you don't want to remove this and then go to install the new fan and limit control and realize you don't know where the wires go. So take plenty of pictures. If you don't know where things go, there actually should be writing on the fan and limit control itself. So you can see there's a limit written here and fan on this side. So now with just a Phillips head screwdriver, you can go ahead and just loosen the screws and take the wires out. Okay, so now I have the wires undone from the unit, and I just pulled them out through the bottom where they went in, and these are now in front of it. Now this fan and limit control itself is held in by 3 screws in my case. There's 2 near the top here, and then there's 1 at the base. They're brass colored basically, so you can go ahead and just remove those next. Now that our screws are removed, we can go ahead and just pull this fan and limit control out of the furnace. Make sure you pull this straight out. Ding, and that's it basically. So then go ahead and set this off to the side and grab your new fan and limit control. This is actually a used one I needed to use for the meantime. I put this in the furnace. Put it straight in. Basically. And then go ahead and put the screws in. And then I'm going to fast forward in time to when I'm going to do the electrical work. Okay, so now we've fast forwarded in time, and I've fed the wires back through the hole in the bottom of the newer fan and limit control, and I started to put the wires in their correct spots. Make sure when you do this, the limit and fan markings are in the same spot so that it's wired the same way, because your new one might be wired differently. You need to make sure you put the wires in the right spot. So make sure you read the markings and make sure you put the wires in the correct spot. I'm going to go ahead and put in this common wire, and then I'm going to tighten down all the screws, and then I'm going to go back. Okay, so I have finished the wiring, and I just turned the breaker back on for the furnace because we're going to test to see if the fan comes on now when I turn the switch on for the furnace. So I made sure that this is switched over to manual, which is to the left. It's this top switch. So manual for me is to the left, and when I turn the switch on, the furnace fan should come on. And you can see when I put the switch over to the right in automatic mode, the fan turned off, so this fan and limit control does work correctly. So that's great news. So now before we put everything back together, we want to make sure the temperature settings are in the right spots. So this is different for every furnace, but for mine, you want to have the low setting, which is this right here at about 100, and the second highest be at about 130. So I'm going to move this to the right a little bit more. And then this is your upper, I think, like safety limit basically. You can just push this one pretty much all the way to the right and leave it alone. What we're more concerned about what we're more concerned about are these two. So just make sure those are in a proper setting for your furnace. Every furnace is different, and every fan and limit control is different as well. So you'll possibly look in the manual, but most furnaces, it does actually work fine between 100 and 130 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to go ahead and set those to the correct settings and reassemble the unit, and I'll show you the furnace working. Okay, so I just turned the furnace back on and the cover is put back on for the fan and limit control. And then you want to make sure this switch is switched over to the automatic side. So on the right here it says auto, and this left side here it says manual. This little screw you see here is this one I put in. This switch doesn't like to stay over to the right because the switch is old. So to keep itself from trying to toggle itself into manual like just randomly and have the fan run constantly, I just put this screw in to keep the switch over to the right, because you don't want that fan running constantly because it puts additional wear on the fan. It can cause the core of the furnace to cool down more than you want to, basically, and every single time you have that happen, it causes more thermal like expansion and contraction, basically, like you put more cycling on that, and that can wear the core of the furnace out more, so it's definitely not good. And it also hurts energy efficiency as well, because you're circulating air when you do not need to. So you definitely want to make sure this is on automatic and not flicked over on manual, or else the fan will just continuously run. So I have the switch for the furnace on, so the furnace is now energized and we're waiting for it to come on. And I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to that, and you'll listen for the main blower to kick on. Okay, the main blower just kicked on, and now if we open this up, we can feel hot air coming out, and we do, so that's great. Alright, I hope you guys find this video useful, and have a great day.